I bought this book on Gramedia for like 3 years ago. It's obvious from stain on the paper, right? The title is English classic The Wonderful Wizard of Oz by Baum. As I said before, I bought it from 3 years ago and it's obvious from the stain on the book. Actually, it can be worse, like more yellowish, but because I rarely read this book because it's hard language, I couldn't understand most of the vocabulary. I had a hard time, but now I decided to review it. Before that, this book had 24 chapters with introduction. It has no table of content, like I mentioned before, due to language that makes the reader take a lot of time to understand. I would have so much hard time if I have to finish in a short time. Probably I would do 4 to 5 chapter per 1 week to review, so that I would finish this book review on 4 or 5 weeks maximum. First of all, let me mention my favorite dialogue in this book. It is on chapter 3, How Dorothy Saved the Scarecrows, page 28. I don't mind my legs and arms and body being stuffed because I cannot get hurt. If anyone treads on my toes or stick a pin into me, it doesn't matter, for I can feel it. But I do not want people to call me a fool. And if my head stays stuffed with straw instead of with brains as yours, how am I ever to know anything? I feel like this dialogue caught my attention because that the scarecrow doesn't mind that his body is only filled with straws, because that actually makes him incapable of getting hurt. What makes him sad is that his head also filled with straw, not a brain. I feel like he's afraid that others will think he's stupid, and because without a brain he can't learn or know anything. I would start to retell the chapters I read before we jump into conclusion. Chapter 1, The Cyclone. It starts with few of describing paragraph that is described the environment that the main character, Dorothy, with her aunt, uncle, dog, lived in. Dorothy's uncle is a farmer and her aunt is a farmer's wife. They live in a house that only has one room. The surrounding is a great prairies named Kansas with gray and dull color to be seen everywhere. Anyway, the stories begin with the sudden cyclone came to ruin everything suddenly in just one day. Chapter 2, The Council with the Munchkins. The cyclone finally ends when Dorothy go out of their house to be found out that the scenery is already different than she's seeing every day. There were lovely patches of greensward all about, with trees bearing rich and luscious fruits, such a different environment she used to live to be found out that she's in a different dimension when there's 4 curious people she had not ever seen. After having such conversation, they ended up help Dorothy to get back to her great Kansas. They suggest her to go to the city of Emeralds, where the great wizard Oz lived in. Chapter 3, How Dorothy Saved the Scarecrow. Dorothy prepared for her journey to the Emerald City by having breakfast with Toto, washing up and changing into her clean gingham dress. She packed some bread into a basket, and since her old shoes were worn out, she put on the silver shoes that had belonged to the Wicked Witch of the East. With Toto at her side, she set out on the yellow brick road. Along the way, she admired the neat forms and blue-painted house of the Munchkins, who greeted her with respect for freeing them from the Wicked Witch. As she traveled further, Dorothy came upon a scarecrow standing on a pole in a cornfield. To her surprise, the scarecrow could speak and confessed that, although he could move and talk, he had no brains. Dorothy kindly helped him down from the pole, and he gratefully joined her on the journey. Hoping the great oaks would give him brains, the scarecrow walked alongside Dorothy and Toto, and the three of them set out together toward the Emerald City. Chapter 4, The Road Through the Forest. This one is quite a chapter who doesn't contain important part for the plot, if I could say, but the background character of the scarecrow. So Dorothy and Toto and the scarecrow continue their journey along the yellow brick road, which become rough and uneven. Dorothy shared her food, but the scarecrow explained he never needed to eat. He then told Dorothy the story of how he was made by a farmer and how he longed for brains since the crow quickly discovered he was harmless. As night fell, they entered a dark forest and found a small cottage where Dorothy and Toto slept while the scarecrow stood watch until morning. So, throughout my reading of this novel, I found a lot of moments that I got confused with the language and the vocabulary, especially when it's described or narrating something, so I should take some break to annotate the book. It's my first time annotate a book, so it doesn't really good. Although I'm really enjoy reading it because of the description part make readers easily feels what Dorothy feels at that moment. So that is all review I can tell you this week. Thank you for watching and see you next time. Bye bye.